next finalist. And this is DataSpire from Nguyen and his team. You are based in Singapore at the moment. Part of the team is in Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City. I think that's where you currently have dialed in. And you have done something based on AI that helps hoteliers to predict high-value guests, to predict VIPs, even though they haven't put a footstep into the hotel yet. Right, and we all know how difficult that is. Hotels do a lot to know their guests. They collect data and all this thing, but obviously you can identify such a guest already before they even stepped into the hotel. So maybe explain us a bit and show us how that works.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Stefan. Yeah. So let me quickly show a demo. Let me share my screen. Right, so have been playing a lot with data, and hotel industry have a ton of data they have been produced like daily, and especially during COVID time, we just wonder how we can help hotel to prepare for the recovery. Right, so with Hackathon, that group, then we decided, why don't we try to create something and we give hotel free tools and they can leverage on this one and help them with better email marketing, or help them to identify who are the most valuable guests they should focus the effort on. So using limited resources, but deliver best customer experience. So we're creating DataSpire's Lite. Let me click demo, just click authorize. So we integrated with a Paleo API. I will just quickly log in. Choose the account. So what happens, we're able to pull data, we're able to predict perform data for all the hotels. So in this case, let me just pick one hotel for speed. So Munich, just start AI processing. So what happened at the behind the scene that we calling reservation API from Paleo, preparing information and then able to pass over to prediction model. We build a few model, guest segmentations, customer lifetime value classification model, and also a VIP guest prediction model. Right. So during this time, those model is working behind the scene, and within a few minutes, I think you're able to see the result. All right, so it's ready. So this quickly dashboard represents how many records have been processed so far. So in Munich hotel, we have 1,300 records. And with those records, we have 570 identifiable guests. Right? Those are the actual guests that we have identified. And then among those who are our VIP guests, in this instance, we have 40 VIP guests, the one paying the most. Right? So, or they have other factor. For the hotelier, what they can benefit on this, they can quickly download the results. It's actually in the form of CSV file where they can see details and taking the information about the guests, and they can do better email marketing or do any other objective or other strategy. Right? So what we have here is just filter out. For example, I just want to get out a list of returning guests. CLV class, 1 meaning low, 2 is medium, and 3 are the one we're interested in. Those are high value guests. Right? The third column here, low, mid, high, represented the percentage score of how confident this model predict this guest. So in this case, we can see all of these guests are considered high value and should focusing on. Right? For example, we take this person, Hugo, and just quickly log in into a Paleo. And we can try to pull out their profile. Right? And we see why the model say they are high value. So in this instance, we can see that these guests have about 5 bookings and they're spending quite a major average booking is quite high. So this is an example. So yeah, then the hotel can very easily focus the effort on these guests rather than the entire hotel database. Okay.
And
yeah,
you can predict that, right? I mean, of course, not only looking backwards and seeing this guest has spent a lot, but you can predict this for a guest that haven't been in the hotel yet. I think that's the magic part there.
Yeah, that's correct. So with the prediction coming, so all the moving reservation coming in, this can also go through the reservation, go through a prediction model. And if they are fall under so-called potential VIP guests, what we have here, potential VIP guests, are the one that first-time booker, but have the same data pattern with no VIP guests for the first reservation. And we're able to flag them and say, hey, you may have a potential VIP, you want to entertain them or do special treatment.
So what are your criteria on identifying those? I mean, there is a learning model behind that, but on what kind of, where do you pay attention to when you analyze, when you learn?
Right. So there's a few way for us. The way we do it now, we follow
some communication problems.
I think we lost the connection.
Yeah,
Give him a minute to come back.
It's the last project, so we can't just jump
Yeah,
to the next project.
The cable between him and me is really long.
I hope it's not AI.
When he was explaining how it works, it's a secret guy.
I think AI became alive, and it's like, no, you're not going to tell it.
But that's when you do a live event, you need to be open for some technical difficulties.
Yui, we lost you a bit ago. I can't remember exactly on which word, but I think you were explaining how you learn. Yes, how the learning works.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I should have sprayed to the demo god. So what we're saying that we are using the data feature that we're using is a recency, monetary, and also frequency, meaning how much they spend, how often they spend, and what was the last time they spent, and other feature engineering tool that identify our and creating scoring metrics to able to perform the base model, right? What we have is we create the base model because we understand that not all hotel will have sufficient data and a short amount of time to build a model for the hotel. So with this hackathon, we want to create something that generic, but yet beneficial to a common hotel, per se. And with this base model, we have tested, and the accuracy quite good that we have achieved 99.7%. And I think it should be ready for testing with Apaleo Hotel.
I have one question for around the learning process. So does each and every hotel learn from the scratch, or can do they profit from the learnings from other hotels? So is your system learning from client to client and getting better, or each hotel starts from zero?
So for the scope of this hackathon, we create a base model. So we're not taking data from other hotel. What hotel can benefit now is using the base model that we created and just perform prediction. Right? They will submitting their data, reservation data, and then the model will predict and tell them which guest they should focus on. Of course, for hotel that really interested, they should have their own model built just for their entire hotel.
And
right.
I mean, you used Apaleo for the hospitality part of your application. I mean, Apaleo provides all the boring stuff that nobody wants to develop anymore, right? Reservations, rates, prices, restrictions, policies, invoices, and all this. But for the AI part, which is the exciting part here, did you use any standard tools or platforms?
No, for this case, because we want to have the mindset to open source it, right? So for the community to also benefit, so we create everything from scratch.
Okay. Did you use it with some hotels already in the meantime? Or did you test that out with real data?
Not yet, but surprisingly that I have other people from another industry and asking whether can they replicate for finance industry, like predicting the high value paying customer.
So any hotel listening, just address Yui afterwards or go to the store in a bit and you can connect it directly to your Apaleo account and try it out.
There are a couple of questions I see coming from the audience to the project. One, for example, can you consider other data source like social media, followers, etc., to identify VIP guests?
Yep, definitely. So currently for this one, we take reservation data from Apaleo when we do AI study, and we want to identify the possible data source we can use, but definitely can hook in the additional one to make it more accurate.
Then there is a nice one, a very common one. How can you identify recurring guests who come over different channels and maybe don't have a unified merged profile, which is a very old industry problem?
All right. So the very interesting question. So what we did that, the first thing we do was guest segmentation. Right? So we cover them on, the easy way to explain, try to explain here that we make them on become numeric and put them under the matrix and we cluster them. So which dot nearer to each other did they consider the same group, right? So imagine now that you have the base model with the data source. We have built that this group A, high value guest, and if different data source come in and their cluster belong to very close to the first group, we also consider them as the valuable customer.
Yeah, I mean, you could also use the Apaleo profile API, which some other CRM that might also be connected to this hotel account might have done the deduplication for you already. So that would be the other alternative. And then there was a question again, I think I asked that before, what kind of, are you using TensorFlow or something? Is there any learning reasoning framework, or you did everything from the scratch?
We did everything from scratch.
Oh, nice. Interesting.
The detailed write-up we have created and shared in the GitHub. I can freely and pocket and you can play with it.
Yeah.
But again, our team will continue to curate and also further development in this. But we think it should be able to further improvement for other hotels to use. Yeah.
Maybe just again, one comment also to the audience in case somebody's interested how that all works. From the developed, from the Hackathon page, you can access the projects and the GitHub repositories. You can actually look into the source code, how they did that for all the project, the API calls they made and all these things.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. We have a few questions for you, Dewey, with DataSpire. First from Martin Rehns, who's asking if your AI is based on neural networks or supervised learning.
The light version is not based on neural network. It's not this machine learning, not deep learning. It's only because we built from scratch using library like sketchy-learn and pandas. But the commercial version using deep learning and neural network.
Perfect. We have directly two more questions for you. Is there a process by which hotel operators can provide input/data that improves your models? From Richard Sanchez.
Yeah. So relearning process. So before I go to that, we will further enhance the light version to allow to accept CSV upload. So hotel can also upload additional data source to do further prediction. For the retraining to improve the model, yes, we may have another channel section to allow hotel to provide more data, so we can have to improve the light-based model. But the base model for light version supposedly have to be shared and across the whole hotel they want to use.
Amazing. It's amazing to see so many specific questions, as it really shows the interest from the audience. Dewey, another question from you again, from Kirsten Molle. Do you take a feed from the revenue management modeling, i.e. are there factors such as occupancy rates and length of stay during busy periods that can be taken into account?
Yeah. So for the light model, the data we take from Apaleo reservation already have rates and also length of stay. Right? We don't take occupancy rate at the moment, but that can be added. Yeah.